Any virus will always continuously change, and that's why we get what we call these new variants, which are slightly different versions of the virus. There are lots of them available around at the moment, and some you might be more familiar with would be the Indian, the Brazilian or the South African variant. We know some of the variants are more infectious, so that makes you more at risk of getting it if you meet someone who has the infection. In particular, that's for the Indian variant or the Kent variant. And some of them, like the South African variant, we also worry can cause more deaths as well. The information we know about the Indian variant at the moment is that it's easier to get it and give it from person to person, but it doesn't cause more deaths.
When you play around with the COVID tests and use it in ways that's not supposed to be used, you sometimes get very interesting or silly results. And when you use it on vegetables or fruit, sometimes the acidity can break the test and it appears that it's giving a positive test when actually there is no virus there.
We know that COVID-19 is generally transferred by sharing the same air as a person, so it's unlikely to be transferred in water or while swimming.
There is no evidence to show that the use of medical masks for long periods of time can cause any difficulties with your breathing or any difficulties with your oxygen in your body.
So COVID-19 isn't that similar to flu, because we have flu every year and actually lots of people get it and manage to get better. With COVID-19, it tends to cause more symptoms in a lot of people, make them more unwell, and it's led to a lot of people passing away as a result.
Some people say that COVID-19 deaths have been exaggerated. Actually, the opposite is true, and COVID-19 deaths have been underreported by, we think, at least half. So there have been 3.5 million deaths recorded caused by COVID-19. We think the actual number is closer to 7 million.
We don't really have any evidence that very cold or very hot weather can protect you from COVID-19 or make you more likely to get it. The main way to protect yourself and your family is to make sure you get vaccinated and always try and socialise outdoors.
Generally speaking, you don't need to wear a mask while exercising, but always check the guidance in case things change.
You can catch the virus by being around someone for even less than a minute, so always try and make sure you're meeting people outdoors.
Some people go to extreme lengths to clean maybe their groceries or letters that come through the door before touching them. We don't recommend that you should take any additional precautions when doing grocery shopping. Always wash your vegetables and fruit when you buy them, but there is no need to leave them on the side for several hours in order to prevent you from catching COVID.
Vaccines are very safe. They've done loads of studies all over the world before the vaccines were made available, and they've tested them in a whole range of people, both in the young, in the old, in pregnant women and breastfeeding women. And we'd really recommend you get whatever vaccine you're offered if you're eligible.
Because the vaccine is still quite new, we don't know how long exactly the protection lasts for. But the people who first took the vaccine, many of them still have protection against COVID, and that's been well over a year now.
With COVID-19 causing a global pandemic, everybody knew vaccination was one of the key ways that we can get back to normal. As a result, we had lots of companies all developing different types of vaccines. Some work similar to others and some work differently from others, but all the ones that have been approved at the moment are capable of protecting you and your family from getting COVID-19.
Some people say that the vaccine contains microchips. There's absolutely no evidence that the vaccines contain microchips.
None of the COVID-19 vaccinations available affect fertility, and in fact there's no mechanism by which these vaccines affect your fertility. A lot of the vaccines on offer work in the same way as vaccines we're used to having, such as the MMR, the measles vaccination we have as children, and they're completely safe to use.
So far, all of the vaccines have been shown to be effective against all strains, but no vaccine is 100% effective, so some people who've had the vaccine may still catch COVID, unfortunately.
None of the vaccines available today contain fetal cells. In some cases, in the research bit in the laboratory, they may have used fetal cells when they were designing the vaccine, but no vaccine on offer contains any fetal elements.
Most vaccines have 2 doses, and as of June 2021, there is no third vaccine currently available for any of the current vaccines. But we're expecting booster vaccines to come out in the autumn, and this may be given on a yearly basis, just like the flu vaccine.
The advice at the moment is for all pregnant and breastfeeding women to get the vaccine. I'm pregnant myself and I've got both doses of my vaccination. Pregnant women, especially in the 3rd trimester, are more at risk of having to go to ITU because of severe COVID. So it's really important to protect yourself and the baby. When you're breastfeeding, you also pass your immunity on to the baby as well. So we'd really recommend all pregnant and breastfeeding women get the vaccine.
If you get side effects from the COVID vaccine, that's nothing to worry about. It does mean, though, that you are generating an immune response against COVID.
The current COVID-19 vaccines available are safe and have taken all the appropriate regulations and research before they were made public. Because of the fantastic global effort where we had lots of sources of funding, lots of volunteers coming forward, the vaccines will be able to roll out faster than some previous attempts for other diseases. They still went through all the appropriate processes and are safe to take.
Currently, we recommend that if you've had 2 doses of the vaccine, we still encourage you to follow the guidance regarding hands, face, space, and ventilation. And that's because some people who've taken the vaccine can still catch COVID and spread it to your family and to your loved ones.
Herd immunity means when we wait for enough people in the community to have had the virus to prevent it from spreading from person to person. It takes a long time to achieve that, and actually it means a lot of people will become very ill and pass away if we're waiting for herd immunity. Another way to achieve it is to make sure we get lots and lots of people vaccinated, because the more people who are vaccinated, i.e. have the herd immunity, the more the virus can't spread quickly.
If you're young and low risk and you're asked to take the vaccine, we strongly recommend that you do. And the reason for that is because some young people can still catch COVID, some young people can still get very unwell with COVID, but more importantly, you may still catch the virus and spread it to other people around you, including your parents and grandparents. So please do take the vaccine if you're asked to do so.
Unfortunately, all medicines and vaccinations have some risks. With COVID-19, we know that one of the vaccine options available gives you a slightly increased chance of having a clot. However, the chance of having that clot from COVID-19 is up to 10 times higher. So it's really important to get vaccinated if you're offered, and the chance of a clot is actually the same as the chance of an airplane landing on your house. It's a very small risk, and the protection you get from the vaccine is much, much greater. The risk of having a clot with vaccination is also greater in younger people, so currently we're not offering the AstraZeneca vaccination to anyone under 30 years old.